Welcome back to part 2 of the gold-filled scrap refining videos. We're going to pick right back up where we left off in part 1. We've got our recovered gold foils here. We're going to add these to a clean beaker. Here's what the foils look like down in our beaker. It's just hollow shells that retain their shape in some cases of what they used to be. We're going to begin the refining process now by adding some hydrochloric acid. I had about 400 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Now what we'll do is measure out some nitric acid. I've got some 68 to 70% nitric acid here. I'm going to measure out about 40 milliliters, maybe a little more. It's probably closer to 50. We're going to add this right into our gold foils in here. Now what we'll do is cover this up. We're going to set it up here on our heating pad, add some heat. We're going to put that gold in solution and do a refining on this material. I think all that nitric has become expended. Let's shoot another 3 milliliters in here. See what happens. A little bit of reaction, but not much. Now we'll use some hydrochloric acid to rinse down the sides of our beaker. Let's see what we got under here. I don't see a whole bunch of material. It's kind of hard for me to get a video of it and look at the same time. I do see some strips that look like it might be metal. So we're going to set this back on the heat and go ahead and continue to let this boil for a few minutes. This has been on boiling in aqua regia now for about an hour, I guess. This is my hydrochloric acid. I forgot to tighten the lid. And what we're going to do now is I've got a magnet, and we're going to check this. Run a magnet down here to see if we got anything magnetic. I do see some movement in there. No, I don't see it. There it is right there. What is that? There it is. Something magnetic. Let me see if I can get this thing out of here. Just a piece of oh yeah, it's a steel wire with a little bit of gold on it. I think I'm just going to remove this if I can. Rinse it off. I'm just going to take it out of here now and get rid of it. Yeah, what this is part of a watch that didn't dissolve completely. We'll just we'll hang on to it, and I guess we could throw it into our next batch of gold-filled material. Piece of filter paper, get some of the solution on our filter paper, test it with stannous just to make sure that we've got gold in solution, and that dark stain means gold in solution. The solution is pulling through the filter very quickly, which is a good thing. And someone had asked in the comment section during the recovery video, why did we add the filter paper that had the contamination in it to the melt dish when we did the incineration in here. The reason we did that, but the contamination that we were having problems with, I'm just going to go ahead and, was caused by, probably by tin. And so when we put those filters into the furnace and burnt those filters, what it does is it burns the tin's metastatic acid, and it forms a different compound that is not soluble, and it's easily filtered out. I think it forms tin oxide when we burn it like that. And so that's why we add those filters to the furnace when we do that incineration. There's a little bit of gold left down on the bottom of the beaker. Here's what's left in the bottom of the beaker. It is some gold material. So I think what we'll do here is just rinse this material down into a smaller beaker. Now let's use some hydrochloric acid for this. Rinse those pieces down into this beaker with some hydrochloric acid. Now what we'll do is I can put this back up on the heat. Here's all the material that's down in the bottom of our beaker. It does look like gold. We put this back up on the heat and try to redissolve this now. Why not? Let's go for it. Turn on some heat. Alright, our filtering is almost complete up here. Now what I'll do is I'm going to put some nitric acid. Let me get this thing out of the way. I'm going to put some nitric acid in this beaker down here. And I think what we're going to try to do is try to dissolve these little pieces down here separately. Here we go, nitric acid going in. A few drops of sulfuric, take care of any lead that may be present. I'll cover this up. See if we can get those few pieces of gold in there to dissolve in that aqua regia. I may as well throw this back in there while we're doing this. This is our piece of steel. Funny thing about dissolving gold in aqua regia that has some base metal clinging to it, such as gold filled material does. A funny thing about it is when you put it in the aqua regia will dissolve the base metals first, then it will attack the gold, and I can't explain why. I think we've got everything that we're going to get to go into solution to go in this beaker. So now we're going to pull it down off of here, let it cool down. Still a few solids in here, but I'm not going to fight with it anymore. What we'll do is just add a little bit of ice to cool this down. Go ahead and add this to the filter now, and we'll just gather up any remaining solids in here and let them commingle with the solids that's already in our filter. Make sure we got some gold in here. Test this solution that we just poured in with stannous, and you can see we've got some gold in solution. This is all the junk that's left in the filter. Okay, here's what comes next. Get rid of that. Get rid of our funnel. Here's our solution. Should be free of sediment. We're going to pour it in this beaker. Let's go for precipitation. I've got stump out, which is sodium metabisulfite. We're going to add some in here now and precipitate out the pure gold. That's 4 spoons. We add a half another one. It's 4.5 spoons of SMB. Now what we'll do is give this a stir. Allow this to settle for a while. You can see our gold settled out down on the bottom of that beaker. Now what we'll do is pour this off into our gold waste container. Here's what our gold looks like down in the bottom of our beaker. Let's rinse this off. I'm adding hydrochloric acid, about 200 milliliters. We're going to give this gold a boil in some hydrochloric acid now. Set it up on the heat and let this boil. Let's go ahead and pour this hydrochloric acid boil off now to our waste container. Got a little color going on in there. Look down in there now. The gold has a much different appearance. Let's get this funnel out of the way. Here's what's in the funnel. A little bit of metal left. We'll put that in our paper storage. Let's move our gold up onto our burner here. Get ready for the next evolution. What I'll do is add some hydrochloric acid to the gold up here on this heating pad, and we're going to go ahead and try to put this gold in solution a second time. That's a little over 200 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. As usual, we'll add a few drops of sulfuric acid to precipitate out any lead. If there's lead in here, which there shouldn't be, the lead will combine with the sulfuric acid, forming lead sulfate, and then we can filter it out 100%. We've got the gold, hydrochloric acid, and a little bit of sulfuric acid in here. And I'm going to start adding small doses of nitric acid. And we're going to redissolve this gold a second time. I'm going to do that with a time lapse. Here we go. Got the gold to go in solution. I've boiled it down until all the fumes have disappeared. So now what we'll do is pull it down off the heat and let it cool down. Now let's go ahead and add some ice to this. Get it cooled down so we can filter it off. We're gonna pour this back through the same filter paper a second time. You can see it's loaded up now, probably silver chloride. So what we'll do is pour this solution, it's a little bit cloudy, back through the same filter for a second time. See if we can get this cleared up. Okay, I've added some SMB to a flask. Now what we're going to do is add some distilled water to this and make a saturated solution of sodium metabisulfite. Might have to add a little heat to get all this to dissolve completely. The solution is clearing up nicely for us. When refining this kind of scrap, there's always going to be some trash that tries to follow the gold. There's all the trash that we filtered out of our gold solution, and it looks real good now. Nice and clear and bright. I think we've got this just about totally dissolved. Just a little bit in the bottom of the flask, not much at all. Alright, let's go ahead and filter this SMB solution. Got just about all of it to dissolve, not every bit of it, but we're going to pour this to a filter now. Let's rinse this filter out. Let's get rid of this funnel here. We can stick it back here in this container. Now let's get rid of this funnel. And you can see there's nothing in there. No dirt, no sediment. Just gonna set this back out of the way. We're gonna trade places and put our saturated SMB over here. And now what we'll do is we're going to do a reverse precipitation. We're going to pour the gold solution into the SMB. Here we go. We're going to pour the gold solution in. There it goes. Let me see if we can kind of back this up, just see what's going to happen. Wow, look at that. Didn't expect to see that. That's pretty bizarre. It's going colorless. There it flashes over. Alright, there's the gold coming out of solution as we continue to add it. Pretty neat. Do it a little differently. A little change up. We've got our solution to settle out pretty good. I will pull it down off the heat and let it cool down. Alright, here's what the gold looks like. Alright, let's take this over on the melt table now. I'm going to melt this up. An ingot. Here's our pure gold ingot. And what were we expecting here? I calculated that we were going to yield about 13.5 grams of pure gold. But I can tell this is going to be more than that by the size of the thing. And it is. It's 19.9 grams of pure gold. Not bad. We'll take it. Let's see what that yield is then. We've got 19.9 grams divided by 540 grams. That's 3.6% yield. So I think we had a little bit of carat stuff in there. Gold-filled material does have, it's embellished with carat gold every now and then. So this bar looks good. It's got a little surface contamination. That's quite all right. I'll throw it in with another batch of carat scrap and re-refine it. All right, that'll conclude part 2 of the 540 grams of gold-filled material refining. Thanks for watching.